Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to be sharing some habits with you, some really important habits for your RV life. So stay tuned and we'll get right back with you. The RV life. We're surrounded with the message that it's a life you have to wait until retirement to have, and a life that only some can afford. And while it might be reality for those who want to believe that's true, we're on a mission to change that mindset and help people to stop wondering and start wandering to create a life they love.
Join us in conversations about how to design your RV life. We're Bryan Luann Street, and this is the RV Living Show.
So welcome, everybody.
Welcome back.
So we are going to be talking about 6 habits of highly successful RVers today. So I think all of us who are RVers want to be successful at our however we use our RV.
That's it, we do. I mean, we've got them, we want to use them.
And the habits that we're going to be sharing today are probably not ones that you're thinking that we're going to share with you. Yes, you should have a habit to do RV maintenance. But that's not the kind of habits we're going to share with you today. Ours today are going to kind of go deeper into why you want an RV lifestyle and how to make it better so that you can just work on these habits so that the whole thing is impacted in a better way. So setting goals is not unique, right, to success. But our first habit is to set goals. So you read about setting goals everywhere, right? That's a thing. If you want to be successful, you should set some goals. But honestly, we tend to think about that more in business, right?
In business, I was just thinking, setting goals, probably a lot of us on New Year's Day go out and we set a lot of goals and things we want to accomplish throughout the year. And then, as the year goes by, those kind of go by the wayside.
That's right. So what does success in your RV life look like? Like if you want to be a highly successful RVer like we're talking about today, what does that success look like? And that's the goal that you need to set for yourself, is how to make that be more towards your unique lifestyle. So if you want to go full-time, right, you need to set the goals to go full-time. If you want to use your RV more, you want to use your RV more.
You got to set the goal to make those reservations and plan for it.
Because we did talk about last week in the 3 things you must do if you own an RV about how being more intentional about doing things in your RV life will make it better and you won't have regrets, right? So you can set goals for full-timing. Like maybe 2021 is your year. Maybe New Year's you need to figure that out and make it your year to go full-time. Maybe it's your year that you want to travel more because COVID just put a real damper on that. And
yes,
you want to use your RV because maybe it sat all year because of COVID. So those are the kinds of things that if you want to be a successful RVer, you want to set those habits.
Yeah, we think about setting goals. We had a lot of our plans this year because of COVID.
Our goals totally got
messed up. So really what we're going to talk about here is how we're going to regroup and start over.
That's right. So your first habit to being a successful RVer is to set goals.
That's right.
So number 2 is an interesting habit, and it's something that's not physical. It is more about your mindset. So getting in the right mindset for your RV life is really important. So maybe you're saying, well, what exactly is mindset, right? Well, everything that you think you know how to do and everything that you think about is your mindset. It's like your perspective on things.
Right.
And you may have heard the quote.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah, Henry Ford said that. Mm-hmm. So we want to kind of make this about RVing, right? So if you think you can't afford RVing, you can't.
Yeah, that's right. Another thing, if you're thinking you got to wait till I retire before I can actually do anything. Well, that's what you're going to do.
Right. And if you think you can't drive an RV because it's too big,
Yeah, you're not going to be able to.
well, then you can't, right? And then
yeah, a lot of things change in how when we actually have ideas in our minds about how things are going to be, and then we actually go do them. They're not the same way.
it's true. It's true. And so, and referring back to our last episode, we talked about limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And this goes right along with this. You got to get in the right mindset.
Exactly.
So we think we know how to take action or not. And then that sets us up for success. But changing your mindset is super important to having a successful RV life in whatever you do. So the second habit of a successful RVer is get in the right mindset. So Bryan, what's number 3?
Seek knowledge. This kind of goes along with the other one as well, because when we started out in this lifestyle of living full time, I had a different idea how it was going to be. Mm-hmm. The more
well, you had a preconceived idea.
Maybe that's a better way to say it. We had this preconceived idea, this how it's going to be. And when we learned more about the lifestyle, all of a sudden things started to change.
It did. Yeah. It did. So seeking knowledge is something that you want to get in the habit of doing, because you don't know everything. Even if you think you do. I always tease Bryan. It's like, he's got it all figured out. But we want to encourage you to always seek knowledge, right?
That's
because RVing is different than anything else in your life that you're used to doing, whether it's managing the systems, whether it's learning to transition and go full time, totally changing up your life. Seeking knowledge is a good habit to form. And there's tons of people who go before you, like us as full-timers. We provide education and resources so that you can go full-time and be successful and confident at that. So that is something you always want to do. If you need to know how to drive your RV, go seek knowledge, get some help. If you need to know how to repair and maintain your RV, go seek knowledge.
Yeah, and the more you learn, all of a sudden you realize it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Right. Really so it changes your mindset.
It changes your mindset.
So all of these habits kind of fit together.
They do. They fit right together.
They do. So, so that is why we think that you should seek knowledge. So number 4, Bryan.
Take action.
Yeah. So sometimes we have all these, we can set the goals, right?
Yes. I think this goal here happens to be the one that I think about the most in our situation, where when we took action to go full time, that's when we made it happen.
That's right. So if you've set the goals or you've thought about the goals, you got to take action on them, because before you know it, time's gone.
Right. Yeah.
So a way to establish this habit is to stop saying things like someday. Someday I'll buy an RV. Maybe you don't have one, but you're like, someday I will. But we challenge you to build memories while you can. Someday maybe you say, I'll go full time.
Full time, yeah.
But the problem is that you think you have time, and that you think you have to wait, and that's not necessarily true.
Or someday I'm going to take that extended trip I wanted to go on.
That's right. But then you can't do it. Why?
Well, because things happen, and we get older, and maybe we lose our health.
Yeah, so we wait too long.
Right.
So habit number 4 is to take action. Okay, so habit number 5 is interesting. I'm not going to put the thing on there because I actually wrote the answer to it. So I'm going to tell you first. The habit number 4 is make no mistakes. And you're probably going, what? Everybody makes mistakes, right? And yes, everybody does, for sure. But what we want to do is we want to challenge you to turn your mistakes by using the habit of thinking of them as lessons.
That's right.
So yes, we know everybody makes mistakes. Absolutely everybody. But it's what you do with those mistakes that count, right?
That's right. We've all learned a lot of lessons.
That's right. That's right. So maybe you've scraped the RV on a tree, right? And you're having a hard time letting it go, and you're rehashing it in your head. But instead of just thinking about, oh, poor me, turn it into a lesson, right?
Yeah. Think about a different way you can do it. I mean, actually park your RV a different direction, or do something different. Get out and look a little bit better.
Right. Or maybe not be in a hurry and taking that extra trip around to get a better angle on the campsite.
Yeah,
and that's just an example, but
example.
It's one that we've actually learned. It's one of our lessons. And so but it's hard because, you know, you do something wrong, and sometimes some of us more than others tend to dwell on it longer. And we just want you to view your mistakes as lessons and learn from them and move on. And so that is a habit that we really want you to take into your own life. So we're going to be right back after this announcement.
This episode of the RV Living Show is brought to you by the Full-Time RV Framework, a 6-month journey to creating a full-time RV life.
This program includes a 4-module, 26-lesson video course, a bi-weekly freedom call on Zoom and group mentoring in a private community, downsized RV living course so you can learn to downsize with ease, the RV Your New Home Blueprints so you can learn about your new home and how to use it, the Roadmap to RV Living Planner where you can plan your transition, full-time RV maintenance and budgeting, and a Make Money on the Road resource guide. Everything in one place so you can stop wondering and start wandering.
Learn more about enrolling in this complete solution for transitioning to the full-time RV life at fulltimervframework.com.
Okay, so the next habit that we're going to be talking about is not really a habit, but it's the result of the previous 5 habits.
That's a good way to put it. So
maybe you've set your goals, you've changed up your mindset, you've sought knowledge and all the things you don't know about, which, you know, if you've never RV'd before, that could be practically everything. And you've taken action by doing all of these things, and you've made some mistakes, and now you've learned from those mistakes. And so you're ready to do this next thing.
Right.
And this is the result. You want to experience freedom. And experiencing freedom can also be a habit, because if you do all the other things, then this habit's going to be established because you're going to be experiencing this freedom.
Right. You could experience freedom as a full-timer, or even as someone who just uses their RV for extended travel.
That's right.
You know, it's just how you view your where you want to go. It's your life, your way, what you want to design it.
Well, that's right. So whether you're a full-timer or a free timer or a wannabe timer, all of your RV life is worth doing and doing well. And so that's what we wanted to encourage you today, is by building these habits, you can have a successful and confident RV life. So these are the 6 habits of a highly successful RVer. Set goals, get in the right mindset, seek knowledge, take action, and actually, we should have put up learn from your lessons, because everybody makes mistakes.
That's right.
So we just want to ask you today, before we go into the comments, because we want you to answer maybe this question and we can discuss it today, is, are there any habits that we didn't discuss today? Because I know these habits aren't necessarily your normal, like, you know, you want to make sure you do a walk around, all that stuff. This is all more about mindset and the bigger picture of your RV life. Are there any habits today that you would like to add to your RV life? So let's get in the comments and talk about it. All right. Well, we are going to talk about next week preparing for full-time success. And that takes some time. Preparing for your full-time life is certainly important.
Big task.
It's a big task. And it's also, you know, using these habits that we talked about today and put them into the idea that you're going to go full-time. We're going to talk about more about that next week, what all the successful tips in preparing for your full-time RV life. So join us next week.
That's right.
And we will see you
See you there.
See you there.
Thank you for joining us for the RV Living Show. We hope this episode helps you in creating an RV life you love.
Until next time, we encourage you to stop wondering and start wandering.